political events, and the media justifies or ignores it. Unless we change course, the result is inevitable. And though civil war is far from guaranteed, we are in a cycle of violent weather that is unmistakable. Earthquakes, hurricanes, and more. Almost every American is at risk in some form. And that's why I prepare with My Patriot Supply. They've revolutionized preparedness with an industry-leading line of food storage, water filtration, and other products that you will need at some point. And right now, you can save 50% on a 2-week emergency food kit. These 2-week food kits include breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, and they last up to 25 years in storage. Don't ignore the writing on the wall. Give yourself peace of mind and save 50% off at my special website, preparewithredpill78.com. That's preparewithredpill78.com.
Show him with the link, and then you put it in.
Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. We have some very special guests in the house tonight. My friend Mike Volpe is here, as well as Doreen Giuliano. Mike has written an amazing article, unfortunately, about someone, a young man, Doreen's son, who was imprisoned by an overzealous prosecutor, someone who put him away with fabricated evidence, and she withheld evidence that would have exonerated him. Before we get to them, I just want to say that this is me, guys. It's a special surprise. I've decided to show my face. This is my face. I do want to say some, I am doxxed now, so it's all over. I self-doxed. Want to say hello to a couple different people in the house tonight. First of all, you know what? I totally forgot the name. Somebody's going to have to text me and tell me who I'm supposed to say hello to. But I do want to ask for prayers for my Uncle Paul, because he just had surgery today, major surgery, and he needs our prayers. This is not a deep fake. And saw lots of people in the audience, people from Michigan, people from California, people from Colorado. So thank you guys for being here. Please do me a favor, share this broadcast. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you're not already. This is a very important show, and we're going to go right now to my guests, Mike and Doreen. How are you both doing today?
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Glad you're here. Doreen?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well, thanks.
Excellent. So, Mike, we were originally talking about this article that you've written. It is for the Daily Caller, and it's entitled, "This Celebrity Prosecutor Has a Perfect Record of Convictions and a History of Withholding Evidence." Give us an introduction to this article.
Sure. The prosecutor's name is Anna-Sigga Nicolazzi, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because she currently has her own show on Investigation Discovery called True Conviction. And she got that gig largely because when she was a prosecutor, she was 35-0, a record that she's very proud of, because I quoted from one article, but she mentions that repeatedly. And what we are learning is in definitely a few, and we're not sure how many, but in several of the cases, the reason she's perfect is because she cheated, the prosecutor's version of cheating. So you take steroids in baseball and you've got Barry Bonds with a home run record that everybody thinks is tainted. You cheat in prosecution and jurisprudence, and innocent young men like Doreen's son, whose name is John Guica, spend their lives in prison. And I think just in her case, many others, the larger point is she's not an anomaly. There are a lot of prosecutors who believe winning is the only thing, and they're willing to cheat. And there are a lot of different ways they can cheat. We're gonna talk about her case, but hopefully I can bring in some other examples as well, just so people get an idea. This is no anomaly. This happens a lot more than people realize. And it's because the system is out of control. You have out of control prosecutors, and you have judges who are clearly biased. So many judges are former prosecutors, and I've had lots of defense attorneys tell me they act like a second prosecutor, not like an umpire. And so those are some of the problems we'll discuss today.
Now, specifically in this case, what did the prosecutor, Anna-Sigga Nicolazzi, how did she cheat? How did she stack the deck against John?
Well, number one, she coerced several witnesses until they gave her confessions that were only given because she threatened them with jail and all kinds of things. In one case, a guy named John Avito, what she did was she effectively bribed him by helping him out with his own case, but then didn't tell the defense the true extent of her so-called bribery, which is what's referred to as a Brady violation, which it's a little bit complex, but I think we got time. A Brady violation, it goes back to a Supreme Court case called Brady versus Maryland, where it was decided as a rule that if you withhold what's called exculpatory evidence, which just means important, that's a violation of due process. And so bad. So a Brady violation. So when a prosecutor has evidence that would help the defense and they withhold it, that's called a Brady violation. So by her withholding the fact that the true extent of the cooperation, that was for a while actually considered a Brady violation. And this gets technical, but a court eventually decided it really wasn't exculpatory. However, even more recently, they've discovered there's an audio recording from a jailhouse informant which contradicts the testimony of another prosecution witness, and she's withheld that as well. And on top of it, during her closing argument, she, I guess the best way to describe it, introduced facts not in evidence by suggesting that John was the actual killer, which was something no one said. People either said he put the real killer up to it, or he held the gun, or he participated in some other way, but nobody said he was the killer, which is like a slick and subtle way of cheating, especially, and this one defense attorney pointed out, keep in mind, when she said that was the last thing the jury heard, so the defense could not come back and say, hey, she said that never happened.
You mean like in her closing arguments, she suggested that John could potentially be the killer? And
correct.
He wasn't on trial.
She actually said that even though he either suggested to the real killer you should do it, and the prosecution claimed John was like a budding gangster, so like in furtherance of our gang, go get this guy, or he after the fact or even before the fact gave him the gun or helped hide the gun afterwards. And there were conflicting stories, by the way, but that's what all the witnesses said. And during her closing argument, she said he may have even shot him. So another slick little thing, but coercing witnesses is no small deal.
No.
If you're like, you want to go to jail, you don't cooperate, but if you cooperate, you're not going to jail. That's coercion, and that happens a lot. And that's a great way to get somebody to say something you want, not something that happens. And that she was doing throughout.
That's horrible. Now, just so everyone, if anyone is just joining us, we're talking about prosecutorial misconduct, but in general, but we're specifically talking about the case of John Guica. Now, Doreen, tell us a little bit about John. Tell us what happened. What was he on trial for? What was he being prosecuted for?
Well, he was being prosecuted for felony murder. Initially, Anna-Sigga Nicolazzi accused him of giving the gun to the actual murderer and telling him to go show the victim, Mark Fisher, what's up, supposedly for sitting on a table. And that supposedly irritated John, so he sent him, his friend out to kill him.
Well, let's back up. Let's start at the beginning with how this, what was happening. John and some friends were at a party.
Oh, yes. Okay. So it was in October of 2003. And I was at home at the time, my husband and I, and my son, John, he went out with some friends to Manhattan, and he met some additional friends there. Some of the kids couldn't get into the bar because they were underage, 20 at the time. And there were some kids that were stranded, some college kids that came in from Fairfield University. And they were stranded because their last train had left. They missed the train. So my son invited everybody over to my house to continue partying.
Okay.
So there was about maybe 8 kids that came to this impromptu party. And then once it became like 6:30 in the morning, the party started breaking up, maybe even earlier. And then by the time the sun came up, Mark Fisher was found dead, shot to death, 3 blocks from my house, in front of a party goer named Albert Cleary, in front of his house.
Okay, so Mark had left the party. Your son was at home. Was he in bed at that time? Or was he just still getting there?
Well, he left. I know Mark Fisher left maybe 6 o'clock. We can't really narrow it down exactly what time.
Okay.
Yes, all the kids were drinking and smoking pot, and
Sure.
Little by little, each kid left. At first, Albert Cleary and an Angel DiPietro left the party to go to Albert's house. Then Mark Fisher did leave. John went to bed.
Okay.
Other kids left before him. We had a Tommy and a Jimmy and a Meredith Denahan, who remained at the house.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, John didn't know all the kids. John didn't know Angel DiPietro. He was a friend of Albert Cleary's. She was a friend. Meredith, even Mark Fisher. He met them that night at the pub and then brought them to the house.
Okay.
Like I said, they continued partying, and then early in the morning, they found Mark Fisher's body 3 blocks away.
All right. So, but the important thing is here that John went to bed. Mark Fisher had left. Other people witnessed Mark leaving.
Yes.
Was there anyone else staying overnight at the house with your son?
Just Meredith Denahan.
Okay.
She slept on the couch.
All right. All right. So, but I mean,
She
that's
testified.
yes. Good. That was my next question. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
she testified. Angel testified. They all testified. So, I mean, there was lots of contradictory testimony. And like Mike said, lots of coercion, lots of threats. And if you fast forward the clock, everybody recanted except for Albert Cleary.
recanted their testimony backing up John, or
No, the other way.
Absolutely.
the other way. Okay, so they were initially backing up
The
John's
prosecutor.
story, but then
No,
they
no,
were
no. They were the prosecutor's witness.
prosecutors.
They-
Okay.
They went against John during the trial.
Okay.
After that, almost everyone's recanted, either in court or in an affidavit. And so your next question, if everybody's recanting, how is her son still in jail?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our legal system is jacked up. One reason is because once they recant, it's up to the judge to believe or not believe them. And the judge can say, you know what? I don't believe you. I think you were honest the first time. And look, keep in mind, it would be very easy to get criminals out of jail by having somebody testify against them and always recant if you just always believe. But the judge refuses to believe any of the recantations. One guy, John Avito, testified in court, even said, I'm sorry, John. And the judge said, I don't believe him. And then it doesn't matter. It's like the testimony didn't happen, because if it's unbelievable to the judge, then the way our jurisprudence works, that's becomes like this all powerful thing. So you can't really go into court and say that he recanted because the judge doesn't believe him. And look, that's just one of many things that have come up. And every time they're stifled. You can ask Doreen about the juror misconduct she discovered, and keep in mind her son is still in jail despite what she's about to tell you.
Wow. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, the most important thing, what we've been fighting for years, is to give John a fair trial. The trial wasn't fair, and that's why the verdict is wrong. So John didn't get a fair trial. It's a very long story, but essentially I uncovered that there was a juror member that believed my son to be Jewish. And he told me that he hated Jews. And John was Jewish, and he lived over there in that Jew neighborhood, and he comes from money. And I recorded all this. So of course I was beyond devastated.
Wow.
And I figured this is it, He's confessed that he hated Jewish, even though John is not Jewish, he believed him to be Jewish, and he hated Jewish people. And in addition, he told me that the judge told them not to read the newspapers. And he said, of course I read the newspaper. Then as I got to know this juror over a period of maybe 8 months, he told me that his cousin had dated one of John's friends. And that's another thing that he kept from the judge and the defense.
Mm-hmm.
He also said that he hung out with John's friends. He told me he never met John. He never met the kid, but he knows his friends and what they do and where they hang out. And then he proceeded to tell me all their bad deeds, who smokes pot, who grows pot. So he was, he took these biases with him into the courtroom.
Yeah, evidently. Now, how was John put on the radar of the prosecutor? Was it simply the proximity to the deceased, or did the prosecutor know John prior to this this court case?
That's a really interesting question. The radar. Okay. I didn't want to get into this. The whole.
Tell him what you really think. Tell him why you think John was prosecuted. What color is the murderer? What skin color?
Yeah, but we have to do some background on that.
Go ahead. Give him the background.
All right. So it's all about the election. It was all about the election year. And we couldn't figure out either why are they going after John when they already have the murderer? Why the extra kid? The real murderer, Russo, Antonio Russo, he confessed to it several times. And he also cut his hair. He had dreadlocks. He cut his hair and he flew to California. And my son stood home. Actually, he was sleeping. The kid confessed twice. And still they went after my son. But there's a lot involved here. Like, for instance, it was election year. And Charles Hines had a very, very tough race against John Sampson.
And they were running for what?
District attorney.
District attorney. Okay.
Brooklyn district attorney.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have to know the demographics. Brooklyn is predominantly African American. And Charles Hines has been in office for many, many years. And we all know that our jails are filled with mostly Hispanic and African American people.
Yeah, overwhelmingly.
Overwhelmingly. So if you have this well-educated lawyer who is now running up against Charles Hines, who is an elderly white man, the guy has a very good chance of winning. So as a white person, how do I get the black vote? How do I get the black vote? You don't put away, here's a party of 8 kids, you don't, and it's high profile on the front page of every tabloid, and who goes down to prison? The black kid? What is the community going to say? Oh yeah, of course, the black kid goes down. So I believe my son was the sacrificial white kid, because if you watch Charles Hines' pattern, you see every 4 years, every election year, there's a white kid that goes to prison that's on the front page of every newspaper. But you have to follow his pattern to believe this. In order to get the black vote, you gotta put away the white kid.
Can I add something?
But the Wilson Pakula, right?
No.
I can understand.
Well, if you think that's far-fetched, Duke Lacrosse, why do you think those kids were charged?
White
Was
privilege.
it you think if that was a white girl, that those kids would have been charged with the same set of facts? Of course not. It's that cynical. It's happened before. Can I give you a couple of other examples of the kind of juror misconduct that she
Please do. Please
described?
do.
Do you remember the Vanderbilt rape trial? Remember that with Brandenburg and Beatty?
Yes.
A lot of people do not know. First trial got over. It was a mistrial because one of the jurors withheld that they were a victim of a rape, and I must have forgotten that just like this juror must have forgotten that he hates Jews and knows some of John's friends. And that's called voir dire, VOIRDIRE. That's that process where they ask you, is there anything you're supposed to? I remember when I was on the jury and I was like, what have I forgotten? Just in case, so I don't commit perjury.
I've been up for jury duty before, so.
Right. So this guy on the Vanderbilt rape case must have forgotten that he too, it was a male, was a victim of a rape, and it caused a mistrial. The Rucky case, which you and I talked about the last time, she was accused, it's too long to explain what Sandra Grazzini Rucky was accused of, but she was essentially accused of keeping her kids away from her ex in spite of a court order. The guy who would wind up being the jury foreman said this to the judge. Well, my wife did to me what this woman's accused of. And the judge, her name's Karen Asfog, actually said, well, you can be objective, right? Oh, sure. Puts him on the jury. Another guy said he was at a party with a relative of David Rucky, and that guy still wound up on the jury. So that's not even juror misconduct. That's a judge just forcing clearly biased jurors onto the jury. And by the way, Sandra Grazzini Rucky got convicted. So go figure. One guy sees his ex-wife in her. Another guy is at a party with relatives. Go figure, she gets convicted. So this sort of thing is not an anomaly. Neither is the Brady violations we're talking about. But go ahead.
Well, let's talk about that exculpatory evidence that was withheld, because it wasn't just that the killer admitted to doing this alone. I mean, that was admitted in open court, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
It wasn't just that there was no physical evidence linking John to the crime, correct?
Right.
It wasn't just that all of the witnesses recanted their statements incriminating him.
Right.
There was
even more than that.
There was also a jailhouse snitch.
Right. Two things. So first of all, there's a guy named John Avito. He's a jailhouse informant. What happened with Avito is he did some sort of crime, and they gave him a diversionary program, they called it. So you don't go to jail and you do like drug rehab and a whole bunch of other things. And he kept failing. And on June 9th, he just took off. So now they got a warrant for his arrest. On June 12th, he shows up in Nicolazzi's office, and he must have had an epiphany and realized that he, at this particular moment, needed to do the right thing, because he, in February, had overheard John admitting to his role in the murder in February, and on June 12th, he did the right thing. Nicolazzi took him back to see his judge. She accompanied him. She talked to the judge. Now, it gets complicated. Some of this stuff they did disclose. A lot of this stuff they didn't. And essentially what they didn't disclose was the amount of support that Nicolazzi's office, the Brooklyn DA, gave to this guy. And the reason they didn't is because most of it wasn't in writing. It was mostly assumed. However, Nicolazzi certainly didn't disclose that she spoke to the judge in that guy's own case. And the reason it's important is she claimed he was doing it strictly because he had some sort of like moral crisis of conscience. And yeah, no, this career criminal, and in her closing argument, I'm saying, am I right, Doreen? So as she's helping him with his case, on the one hand, she's telling the jury he's doing this strictly to do the right thing. And she withholds where it gets tricky is she withheld all of it, but she withheld a lot of it, and she withheld the level of coordination and cooperation. And one other thing, Avito testified and recanted. He said in no uncertain terms it was a deal. However, the judge, whose name is Danny Chun, said he didn't believe him. So it doesn't matter what he said.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, although I know that this stuff happens, when you hear about a real-life case where such a preponderance of evidence exonerating someone exists, why are you unable to get any movement with John's case? Why have you not been granted a new trial yet, or at least an appeal?
Can I answer that?
Please.
There are two people that everyone needs to know about. Charles Hines, who we just mentioned, he's the district attorney, so he's the head of the office. If you watch Law and Order, Jack Ross wound up being the last district attorney. but the guy who ran for president was DA for a while. That's the DA. He ran the office. Very corrupt. I think they've already overturned 23, including, I think, 6 or 7 murders.
Wow.
Very corrupt district attorney. She was the star prosecutor. There's also a guy named Louis Scarcello, corrupt cop. They've overturned 14 of his cases. Brooklyn itself is looking at 70 of his cases. This office was like a magnet of corruption, and I think it's Hines strike 1, Scarcella's strike 2. She would be strike 3, you're out. It's such a massive can of worms. It's not the Guica case. It is, but that's the entree, 35-0. How many of those do we have to investigate? 5, 10, 15? What if it's 20 or more? If they got to investigate 20 of her cases, how many new cases can they prosecute? Is this so bad that they won't be able to function just to clean up her mess? That's what I think is going on.
You know, the real sad thing here is that, I mean, it's obvious that, in my opinion, Nicolazzi is dirty. I've never heard of a prosecutor having a perfect record, 35-0. That's, great batting average. But the fact that, this has happened, and when you combine all of the evidence that has come forward exonerating John, it's obvious that there has to be some level of cooperation between her and other officers of the court, judges, other prosecutors. This is the kind of thing that you hear about, I mean, like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You help me frame this defendant, I will make sure that you get a conviction next. I mean, where does it end?
Right. It's a big boys club. And as I said, and the general public doesn't understand or appreciate this, so many judges are former prosecutors. They continue to act like they're in their old job, not their new job.
Right.
So they're right there with the prosecutor. They are the second prosecutor. That is so dangerous. Number one, the subtle message you give the jury when you're constantly siding with the prosecutor. Obviously, the judge thinks this guy's guilty.
Right.
You're in the jury. You do this once, twice. It's due. You're nervous. The judge is all powerful, all knowing. You see him constantly with contempt to one side and treating the other side with respect. How are you supposed to process that? And that's something people don't understand, but I absolutely believe the answer to your question is there's a massive can of worms. This case only begins it. And that's really the problem. It's that cynical that they don't want to clean up that big a mess. Much easier to just hold on tight, hope that all of these corrupt judges will continue to somehow bend over backwards, twist themselves into pretzels to try to make decisions that will fit these set of facts when everybody knows it's bogus, rather than admitting defeat, because John is exonerated and there's all kinds of evidence that he can get, and it opens up the floodgates to her other cases. You're right. If you're 35-0 and your biggest case not only goes down, but it's because of prosecutorial misconduct, many, many questions. And some of those should go to investigation discovery. A lot of this stuff was out there when they gave her the show, when they were looking at the show, certainly out there now that she continues to have a show. None of this is new. You're certainly not the first person to talk about the Guica case. If they don't know, they should know. They keep her on the air despite all of this.
Right. It's not just, the Brooklyn DA's office. It's also, what is it, Court TV or something? I mean, what channel is she on?
Investigation Discovery.
That's what it is, Investigation Discovery. I mean, that's got to be a big, money grab for Investigation Discovery. I'm sure that Nicolazzi is also making quite a bit of money. But if they bring this to the forefront, if they, John's case, so clearly an innocent man was put in prison, then they would, I would imagine, by necessity, have to take a look at every single case in her, portfolio. And then, what's to stop, every other prosecutor, for the last 20 years from having every single case investigated. So again, like you said, so much easier to just destroy the life of one young man and not have to worry about besmirching the good name of the Brooklyn DA's office. Real quick, guys, I just need to give a couple of quick thank yous. Jimmy and Ann in Ohio, thank you. I hope you guys are watching. Let's see, Lady Hastings, she said, it's my birthday and I couldn't be happier spending it with my wonderful Patriot family. It's also my birthday. So I'm glad that you're here spending it with us. Nisi said you are beautiful. No more saying show your face. Thank you very much. And thank you for that super chat. Jeff Stewart says, hi, everybody. Glad you're here, Jeff. God's Guy said, happy birthday, little brother. We love you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, God's Guy. And Scott Clanton just gave a super chat. Thank you very much. So what's the next move? Does John have the same legal team? Has this been the same legal team throughout that's been working on this case?
No. We have Mr. Mark Betterall now, and he is phenomenal. He has uncovered so much misconduct, serious misconduct. But I want to go back a little bit.
Please do.
I mentioned that Anna-Sigga Nicolazzi got a $43,000 raise immediately after she got the conviction of John. $43,000. Who gets a $43,000 raise?
Yeah, I wonder if she knew that she was up for that raise if she got that prosecution. Yeah.
I also want to go back to the election because I said I believe they went after my son because of the color of his skin, and in addition, the detectives that were first on the case were removed, and then they were replaced with the major case squad. Also, where the body laid was Albert Cleary's house, and his mom was the Republican vice chair. She sat on the vice chair committee, and she had the authority to give an endorsement, which is called a Wilson Pkwy. And we didn't know any of this when John was indicted and taken to trial. We didn't even know what a Wilson Pkwy was, not until I did my investigation. So initially, Albert Cleary was the prime suspect because the body was in 50 feet from his bedroom window. And there was 11 911 callers that said that they heard 5 gunshots and a car speed away at 6:40 a.m. on Argyle Road in Brooklyn. So in the exact same time when Charles Hines was having a very tough race, he had received this endorsement from the prime suspect's mother. She gave him this endorsement, which allows a candidate to cross party lines if need be. If you were to lose the primary and you're the party you are is a Democrat, you could cross party lines and now run as a Republican if you have that endorsement. And the Republican Party never gave Charles Hines the Wilson Pkwy until that year. So it makes you wonder why is the mother of her son was being investigated. She now turns over this endorsement, which is a benefit. So Charles Hines is benefiting from the non-indictment of Albert Cleary, the non-indictment.
Yeah.
So if he would have lost the primary, he crosses party lines, he runs as a Republican, and he confused the votes and still win in the general election. There's so many things that go on right underneath your nose, and you don't even realize what's going on.
But Doreen, that's not the only conflict of interest you found. Explain the conflict of interest you found with a judge.
Oh, God, I recently just came across that accidentally via Facebook. So the chief judge, Matthew Demick, he is the judge who assigns judges to 440 hearings when the trial judge is no longer available. And in our case, Judge Alan Maris, he retired. So Matthew Demick assigned Danny Chun to our hearing. And it wasn't until a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that I found out that Matthew Demick's daughter, Kate Demick, dated the victim in my son's case.
When they were both in college.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
at Fairfield University.
He should have excused himself for that shit, or recused, pardon me.
Yeah, except he's the one who decides whether he should recuse himself.
Yeah.
You should have. Notice all that conflict of interest.
This is
Isn't that
stunning.
nice? Now,
It's even worse. You think that's bad? It gets even worse.
Wait,
Fabricated documents to get the conviction. Fabricated documents.
And how do you have the proof of the fabrication?
Yes, we had them analyzed by an expert, a handwriting expert, who has a shining resume. She worked for federal judges. She analyzed the documents and she said they are forgeries. Now, let me explain to you what those documents are.
Please.
Okay. So John Avito was the jailhouse informant who stated he overheard incriminating accusations. That's another whole long story. And I'll let you have that floor, Mike, to tell that story about the strokes.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to make John Avito look like an altar boy, she had to, Anna-Sigga Nicolazzi had to clean him up. Because keep in mind, he absconded the court-appointed drug program. Instead of going to prison, he was facing 3.5 to 7 years in prison for crimes he had committed. So he's in a drug program and he kept screwing up. So he absconded several times and then went back. So his counselor wrote a report stating that he wasn't doing well and all his violations and submitted it to the judge. All of a sudden, trial is happening, and there was a report that says he's doing well in his program, he's exceeding, and it was whitewashed. And that was the report that the jury got to hear about. He is now an altar boy.
Right.
So one was like, let's say September 19th and one was September 20th. So when we got hands on both, we submitted them and the expert said, of course.
So wait.
20th.
September 19th was the report saying that he was flunking out of drug court. September 20th is the report saying that he's reformed, he's cured, no longer an addict or a criminal.
Right.
Wow.
So she cleaned him up and said that he didn't need a benefit. He wasn't in need of any favors, so therefore he didn't get anything. And he is finally doing the right thing, and the defense would like you to believe otherwise. Because my son's lawyer was very suspicious of him. He wasn't getting up there out of the kindness of his heart. He was in need of something. And that's what Nicolazzi hid from us. She hid the fact that he was benefiting from testifying falsely against John.
Can I add?
Please.
The deal in court is it's up to the judges in the appeals court to figure out whether in their minds he was benefiting, whether in their minds this would sway the jury. And one set of judges said that she was lying and all of that should be overturned. And then another set of judges said, yeah, she did some stuff wrong. And yeah, there was evidence they probably could have gotten that they didn't get, but it wouldn't have changed anyone's minds. Judges are getting inside the head of jurors and they're figuring out what these jurors would or would not have ruled had they been able to get this evidence. And the other thing is they say that this idea of that it's important to your side. Only the defense knows exculpatory. Only the defense knows what's important to them. Yeah. Basically, it's almost like it's offensive. Like after the fact, the prosecutors will argue this wasn't really important, and judges will decide this wasn't really important, as if they can do your case better for you than you are doing it yourself. And that's basically what's happening. Everything you are hearing now, when it gets into court, essentially judges downplay and sort of the prosecutors, and they make it seem like the legal equivalent is not that big a deal, and keep John in jail. I think that's it.
Can I talk about what he testified to, John Avito?
Please, go ahead.
John Avito was in Rikers Island at the same time John Guica, my son, was in Rikers Island. And they both were in the visiting room. So John's father, John Sr., his Aunt Mary and his stepsister Kelly were visiting with him, and Avito was visiting with his family. So John Avito testified that he overheard John's father say to my son, John, "What did you do with the gun?" And John said, "I just had it." So as he's testifying to this, we're sitting in the audience. We all were elated. We were like, this is it, smoking gun. We're going home, John, because John's father had taken 2 strokes in 2002, and it rendered him speechless. I think it could say no. I think he had 1 or 2 words, but you could barely understand what he was saying. But in court for John in 2005, he showed up every day with his suit on, and nobody knew that he couldn't speak, because in the courtroom, you have to be quiet. When we heard him testify that he overheard this, smoking gun, that's it. We got a 5-minute break, and we went into the hallway, and we were so excited. We're telling John's lawyer's name is Sam Gregory. John can't speak. John Sr. can't speak. He took a stroke. Nobody knew that except for family and friends. And he's pacing around saying, "Oh my God, you're kidding me." I said, "You can discredit John Avito in front of everyone. Just put the father up. Put the father up on the stand." And he said to me and my husband and a crowd of people, "Has John Guica Sr. ever get arrested before?" So I had to think about it. I said, yes, in 1979, he did get arrested. And he goes, "Oh, I can't put him up on the stand. I can't, because the jury's going to think like father, like son." So we're all looking at each other, and that's why you're not going to put him on the stand. We could discredit this guy. So my husband said to him, "I got an idea. Put the doctor up on the stand."
There you go.
The doctor. So he's like, "Oh, we got to get back. Our 5 minutes are up." We get back there. He throws a few more questions at him, and then he rests his case. He didn't get further into it. I grabbed Kelly and Mary, and I send them over to Methodist Hospital to go get John's records, because it'll clearly say he took a stroke. It took a day or 2 to get them, because we had to get what you call a HIPAA release.
Yeah.
We had to get up some money. So it took about 2 days to get the records, but by then it was too late. It was too late.
The case had been concluded?
Yeah, they rest their case, and
He rested before they could get. He didn't ask. He didn't want to put the guy on the stand, so he didn't ask for a continuance, because we've got to get some guy. If he wanted to put the guy on the stand, he gotten that done.
Was John's lawyer an attorney employed by your family, or was it a court-appointed attorney?
No, employed. We paid him. He didn't do very well.
No. I would be outraged.
Sam Gregory is his name, but that's an understatement.
I know.
I've ever heard one.
It wasn't up to the task.
So can I explain where the case is at now?
Please do. Yes.
All right. So after my article came out, in the article I mentioned it because her attorney was ready to file a motion. So this recording that we talked about.
Yeah.
So there's another jailhouse informant who, in another recording, contradicts the star witness, Antonio Russo. However, this recording, I guess the prosecutors again must have forgotten, because it wasn't discovered until 2018. And so it wasn't discovered. It was so recently that it was discovered that he couldn't put it into a motion. So now we have a second piece of evidence which contradicts a second witness, which was also withheld, which is so it's clearly Brady in the sense that it was withheld. Now a judge will decide whether it's exculpatory. And so this is what I mean by judges have to do some sort of like handstand and pretzel. A judge would have to say, well, yeah, you have this recording, and yeah, he contradicts your star witness, but is that really exculpatory? Like, how does that help you? That's right.
What's the threshold?
Right. And look, he wouldn't say it the way I'm saying it, but
right.
This would be written in some sort of legalese with citing some sort of case. And look, judges can do almost anything they want. they can bend themselves backwards if they don't want to rule a certain way and manipulate the law to make it say what they want it to say. So it can happen. I'm not saying it'll happen, but it's going to go in front of this guy, Danny Chun, who's already not believed John Avito, not believe anybody who's recanted, who, when John was finally, there was a period when the case was overturned, would not give him bail, who has ruled against him every time. So I don't know. If the past is prologue, I'm not thinking good things in front of Danny Chun and eventually in front of some of these New York appeals courts. But this is not a 2 or 3 days process. It's a few months. If something miraculous happens in Chun's courtroom, it's year or years of his life, if not.
And how long has John been in prison already?
15 years.
15 years. That's insane.
Yeah.
What about a move of venue? What about moving to a different jurisdiction so that you don't
Who
have...
do we ask for that? We ask that judge.
You have to ask the judge?
The head judge, the guy whose daughter was dating the victim.
Yeah.
Do you see how
it's circular?
It's not about what you can do.
It's worse.
There's so many corrupt people. What's the difference?
Someone had asked, what about, isn't this ineffective assistance of counsel?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, of course.
It is.
Absolutely.
Can I jump in?
Yes.
It's whatever the judge says it is. So all of us on your show can say it's ineffective assistance, and you know how much our vote counts? 0. Right, is it? No, it's whatever those judges say it is. Why is it not ineffective assistance? Because they disagree with your tens of thousands. They don't agree. It's 100 to 0 on your show, but our vote is like for fun. The judges have decided it's not ineffective.
So you said that the case has been overturned once already.
Can I explain that?
And yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so it's been reversed on prosecutorial misconduct.
Okay.
The second department did recognize that Nicolazzi should have turned over that John Avito got a benefit. Okay, because it would have been beneficial for us, the defense, to know, and it's for the jury to weigh that evidence. She hid that from the jury. So they agreed with us and they threw out the conviction, but they didn't throw out the indictment. So that is, anyway, they threw out. So the district attorney appealed that decision that they reversed the conviction. They appealed it to the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals reinstated the conviction based on, harmless error. They said, even though harmless error.
Harmless.
The jury harmless. How can that not? That's insanity. John is doing 15 years. And all we wanted was a fair trial to prove his innocence. So they said that even though she did indeed, they recognized that she hid this evidence that was beneficial to us. It would have been harmless because it was overwhelming evidence in 2005. So it wouldn't have mattered. But they didn't take in consideration that everybody's recanted. And we found out, we dismantled the whole case. In 2005, it was this story. We've uncovered so much misconduct. They were basing their decision on the trial transcripts that is so flawed.
Not the totality of the evidence that you've discovered since.
Can I add a couple things? So all of these recantations in that courtroom are meaningless because Chun doesn't believe them. So they haven't recanted because he doesn't believe they've recanted, and he's the judge and he puts that into his order. So in that courtroom, it's like they haven't recanted. And also because the judge did not believe there was juror misconduct, it's like it didn't happen. So all of these things you're hearing, almost none of them can actually be put in because the judges don't believe it. Now, the new Brady, and this is a Brady violation, we'll see. Again, there's no question it was withheld because he got it in 2018 and they obviously had it. So somehow a judge is going to have to say that even though another jailhouse informant contradicted the story your star witness said, somehow that's not exculpatory. It's not important. The totality of the evidence, they still would have convicted. This is the sort of like legal nonsense that they are going to have to come up with. But in the time we have remaining, can I give you a couple of other examples of Brady violations in other cases?
Yes, please.
So the first one is important because it's the same DA's office. There's a relatively notorious case, Nehemiah Weberman. So he was an Orthodox Jew, and the reason it's important is Hines got a lot of pressure because there's a lot of sexual assaults in that community. He was convicted solely based on a testimony of the alleged victim. They've recently discovered that the alleged victim to her therapist told him that essentially, I want to get him, Nehemiah Weberman, that she had a reason to lie. And what's really interesting is it was discovered in a civil lawsuit, because as I'm learning often, it's easier to get evidence in a civil lawsuit than a criminal one. And so they just happened to withhold that the only witness, the entirety of the case may have had a reason to lie. Nehemiah Weberman, that's going through the courts. In the Rucky case, the same case I've talked about before, a couple of pieces of evidence. The police report from the day the girls were found, part of it says that they're not going back to their father, that they'll run again. Nice that they withheld that so that when her daughter was testifying, you couldn't put the police report in front of her and say, Samantha, when you said this, what did you mean? I've recently discovered therapist notes, and I believe the entirety of the notes are exculpatory, but part of it is that the two oldest girls accused their older brother of being bought by their father, and that he suddenly is now saying he doesn't remember their father being violent. That's important because that older brother, Nico, not only in TV interviews and newspapers says he's never seen his father be violent, but he testified to it. And so since they didn't have this report, they couldn't put it in front of him and say, well, isn't it true that you only started saying that after your father bought you a car? So what you'll read is Sandra Grazzini, Rucky, 6-time felon. What you won't see is all of the evidence withheld. And all of these cases we're talking about have one other common link. They are all high-profile cases that the media got. And I firmly believe you do things when the media gets a hold of a case you normally wouldn't. That Duke lacrosse case is absolutely Exhibit A. Yeah. But those are cases that everyone should be watching out for because people start to do things. Do you know that it took 6 years the first time they prosecuted R. Kelly to get from the time he was arrested to the verdict? 6 years. Yeah. You think that would have happened if R. Kelly was a plumber? You think it would have taken 6 years?
No, I don't.
Same thing, and that's another high-profile case.
So what is the next step here? You are going back before a judge with this Brady violation, this new exculpatory evidence, but again, it's the same judge, the exact same judge. Let's just say worst case scenario, you said it was Judge Chun. Mm-hmm. Let's say that once again he decides that this evidence is not exculpatory. What's in store for John at that point? And how many years was his total sentence as well? You said it was 45 years?
No, John got 25 to life. 25
to life. Okay, so after 25 years, he would be eligible for parole.
Right, but then he'll be on probation if he comes home for life.
Right.
I mean, and they can hit you at the board. You could do, 27 years, 29 years, 30, 32. You could just keep going and going.
Yeah.
So we're going to go before Danny Chun. We all have to say a little prayer. Fingers crossed. Not all hope is lost on Chun. And if he denies us, of course, we're going to appeal it. We go to the second department with these tape recordings, singular. I would like to get into the details of that. And I do believe that we're going to get another reversal based on these tape recordings. exactly what it is another jailhouse informant had, he was in Rikers Island. He went on a van with the murderer, Russo, and Russo confessed to him that he did it and how he did it. And he also said John had nothing to do with it. He was bragging about it. So this guy, James Ingram, he contacts the detectives and then, of course, Nicolazzi, and she sits down and she records him. And he goes through the whole thing about how he confessed. And then she says to him, did you tell John's lawyer any of this? And he said, no, he was on vacation. So she knew that John Guica's lawyer did not know. So she hid it. She buried it. Because indeed, we would have used it. Here is the real killer confessing and saying John had nothing to do with it. So how many years later, 14 years later, they turned this over to us. It was in their possession all these years. So we get a box of a lot of documents and the tape recording is in there, and Mark Betterall listens to it. He said he was shocked that they had this, but in the meantime, our 440 was pending in the Court of Appeals. So he asked the Court of Appeals if he could amend it and add this tape recording, this newfound evidence, to the current 440, and they said no. He said, it's a lot of time, a lot of money, and John is sitting behind bars. Let's just amend it. So anyway, they reinstated the conviction based on harmless error, and now we're back in court again with the new 440 based on this tape recording.
One more question. Have you considered something like the Innocence Project? I mean, aren't there organizations out there that specifically help people just like John?
Yeah, I've been writing to them for years. They only take DNA cases, and there's no DNA in my son's case. There's no DNA because he's innocent. They only
also because he wasn't at the crime scene. It's what they do is very, very specific. They do good work, but what they do is really specific. It's not perfect for John's case, but there's a lot of organizations out there, and there's a lot of places that can help, but I don't think it's perfect for the Innocence Project.
Well,
but the Innocent Projects did come forward and they did help us. They wrote what you call an amicus brief in John's defense.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It would seem to me, I mean, based upon the profile of the prosecutor in this case, and the clear the clear innocence of your son, I would imagine there would be like a hefty settlement that could be gained after the DA's office in Brooklyn put your son away for 15 plus years. Yeah, clearly they've been hiding evidence. I mean, this kind of seems like a defense attorney's dream. A celebrity defense attorney might, be able to take this and really make something out of it.
Right. You've got to get that overturned. And yeah, it can be that cynical. There would be a very hefty settlement. Nobody here is saying that's the reason they're fighting so hard to keep him in jail, because goodness, they might have already added up in their minds how much it's going to cost them. And they figure, well, may as well just go for broke because we're already paying this much. Nobody here is saying that. But yeah, no, there would be a hefty settlement. Incidentally, there would not be if he ever took a deal. Doreen, did they ever offer him a deal?
Yes, in November, right before Christmas. They said if he was to plead guilty, it would be time served, and there's the door. You could walk right out.
Oh, wow. They know. They absolutely know.
Yeah.
That's what they do
John
when they don't want to pay.
Yeah, John said no. But Mommy was saying, come home. Right.
He would have had to plead guilty to a crime he didn't commit, though.
That's horrible.
I understand that, but I don't have my son here. 15 years. He's been in jail since he's 21 years old. He's 36. You know, he hasn't been with a woman in all those years. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure it's. I mean, it's difficult on so many different levels. Well, listen, guys,
Yeah.
we're at the top of the hour, so I just want to say thank you both for coming. I'd like to ask the audience to pray for Doreen and John. This is a horrible situation. I really do want you guys to come back and give us an update on this. Once you get a little bit further into the process, because. And if anybody wants to do some more reading on this, I'm going to put the link to the article from Mike into the chat, so you can go ahead and check that out. Doreen, do you have any place that people can contact you, or do you want to tell people how they can get a hold of you, maybe find you on social media? Do you have a
Yeah, I run John's Facebook page,
Okay.
which is John Guica Facebook, and I have a John has a website, freejohnguica.com.
Okay. All right.
So-
And then Mike, author and journalist, currently writing for the Daily Caller and other news outlets. Where can people find you?
My first book was called Prosecutors Gone Wild.
Yep.
If you're interested in criminal justice, that's a federal case, which is much more complicated and in some ways more interesting. But you want to see prosecutorial misconduct. In another case, get Prosecutors Gone Wild.
All right, excellent. That's available on Amazon, I'd imagine.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever.
Beautiful.
If you hate those two, find your favorite one.
All right. All right, guys. Well, once again, thank you for joining us, and I wish you both the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll see you both back on the show before long. Mike, you're going to be back for another subject in the very near future.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, guys, coming up next, we have my good friend Methods. And Doreen, you're going to have to click end on your end. Or actually, let me see. Maybe I can end it. There we go. Remove. Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here tonight. Thanks for sticking through that. I know that it is a complicated subject, but it's very, very important. This is the kind of stuff that you don't hear about because this is an innocent man that's been put away for his entire life, and he has the entire system working against him. So please do pray for John and Doreen. I do need to give a couple of quick thank yous. Let's see. Scott Clanton, thank you very much for that super chat. I'm sorry, my angle here is a little bit low. Alexandria Occasional Cortex. Hello, my friend. She says, happy birthday. Dana Finkler, my brother from another mother. Happy birthday, Buckaroo, where we bark one, we bark all. Charles Pixley. What's up, Charles? Happy birthday, he says. And then Dr. B. Happy birthday, buddy. Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. B. Oh, wow, there's a lot more than I thought. U2D Skier, a little stipend for your birthday. Thank you for that. Lady Warrenon, happy birthday, RP78. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. We've also got, Lady Warrenon, you're going to be coming on the show here in the next, 2 or 3 weeks. So let's make sure that we get together and message me on Twitter. Charlemagne Marino says, happy birthday, RedPill78. So very nice to see you live. It would be great to meet all you wonderful Anons one day. That would be awesome. Thanks for that super chat. Untitled21 says, Pris Andrew or Ghislaine Maxwell suicide next. Thoughts? Maybe. Very well could be. It might be easier to get rid of Andrew. Maybe Methods and I will talk about that one. Happy birthday. Thanks for the news. That's from Justin E. Thank you, Justin. Rosalinda Barrero says, happy birthday. Grateful to hear this most important message. Praying for this praying for this family. Such a heartbreaker. Then Linda Pearson says, happy birthday, love you bunches. Marie Principe says, happy birthday, Red Pill. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, everybody. You guys, Muffin is upstairs with my daughter because she's got allergies and she needs a lot of attention right now. Methods, if you want to come in, buddy, I had to mute you because your mic was coming through. Hot mic. But I need you to unmute on your end, my friend.
Hey, what's going on, Red Pill?
Hey,
you
there you
handsome
are.
devil, you.
Thank you, Methods. Glad you're here, buddy. Here, let me, you know what? Since you are, it's just going to be a big black screen that says Methods. So I'm just going to keep it just on this guy right here. So we can hear you loud and clear, Methods. I want to thank you very much for joining me tonight on this very, very special day.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday. Getting old, aren't you?
I am getting old. That's right. I'm going to have trouble standing up after this 2 hours in the hot seat.
Fresh tennis balls for his walker if anybody wants to donate. We're raising funds.
James Rohrback just donated to the Red Pill Walker Tennis Ball Fund. Says, happy birthday, 7K brother. Thank you very much for that, James. Faith and freedom. There is a face to that voice. About time, brother. LOL. That's right. Thank you, Faith and Freedom. Jaded Logic said, thanks for sharing your birthday and your face with us today, Red Pill. Awesome. Thank you for that. So, Methods, it's been a heck of a week, buddy.
Right. Yeah. There's quite a few things that have happened and been a little bit of chaos on the internet, don't you think?
Yeah, people freaked out. Everybody knows that the OIG report on Comey came out, which it was interesting. I was listening to an interview with Rudy Giuliani and Laura Ingraham, and she said nobody knew this Comey report was coming out. And I was like, hey, Anons knew. We were waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, we expected for it to happen, and even though Joe D and his infamous, it'll be in next week or two, and then now it's 3 or 4 months later we get the report, but we did know it was coming, and I want to remind everybody off the bat that Q told us that slam dunk charges were going to come after the fact, so this was low hanging fruit, like people want to call it, and the whole idea of Comey set this all up to be this way. He knew that this would be something that they would pin on him. And even though we like to make fun of him with memes and, call him a moron, he knows the legal system and how to, twist and manipulate. So this thing kind of helps in the optics favor, but also the public outrage, I think, plays into what you call it, the plan or whatever. People need to see this as no one's content about this.
No one is content about it. Everybody wants justice to come now. I had heard a theory that the reason that they couldn't bring charges against Comey about all of this is because much of the information contained in these memos was just completely made up.
All right, there's that, and then there's more to it. I think the good old boys over at Table of Titans covered some of it last night. The fact that it was, putting it under a certain security clearance for those memos after the fact, after you already brought them home. Basically, Comey set it up in such a case that he could have an argument that, hey, I didn't know, I'm being ignorant, but in turn, the media would run and, Imperial Trump would be going after all his enemies and stuff. So this being a low hanging fruit thing, I'm not surprised. We were told a month ago. So seeing some people kind of be confused, hey, why isn't he being charged? I was like, well, we were told August 1st that this wasn't going to happen on this go around. But we also got, all the talk of McCabe in the background. They're considering, and there's repealing attempts, trying to stop them from doing things on that front. So yeah, just this one, if anything, look at the IG report as, confirmation for the public to know that Comey was a dumpster fire of a person, always has been, and there's a paper trail being started on the federal end about that.
Right. Well, the way I see it is it lays out Comey's part in the coup. It shows that he is not a legitimate person who can be trusted. Whatever public image he still had left, showing him as a Boy Scout or like some paragon of virtue, doesn't exist anymore. And like you said, this is low-hanging fruit. Obviously, it's a crime. What he did was illegal. Okay, you can't get around that. But if the DOJ decided to prosecute him for this, then I think that it might lessen the blow of what's to come. Because I'm just going to lay it out there. I have full faith that the people that we have been talking about for the last several years will be indicted. These people are going to pay, but they're going to pay for treason, okay? They're not going to pay because he took home a trapper keeper full of fake memos that he wrote in his office, and then and then sent screenshots, or he just showed them in his office to his friend, who then leaked the contents, which is another way that I think he got around the fact that they leaked the information. He didn't actually give the memos to his friend. He just gave the content of the memos to his friend, which is kind of skirting legality there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, the friend that he gave it to ended up being his legal counsel. So, the attorney-client privilege thing happening. He, like I said, he's smart. He's a snake, but he's smart when it comes to this stuff. And they had to always have a backup plan for, the Mueller report not, panning out how they wanted it to, and, trying to get, Papadopoulos and all that stuff. I mean, they had to have like chewed on this for a hot minute, trying to figure this all out. So yeah, I mean, you're right. I think if anything, this is like, it's laying the groundwork for, the IG report stuff, because it's going to show, all right, well, we let Comey, we let Comey off the hook on this, but wow, look at this stuff. I mean, we couldn't blame Barr if he brought charges, because this is way worse than the stuff. You know what I mean? It kind of paints a picture.
Well, also, I just remembered this, but didn't he give him like some special status as a non-compensated FBI employee? Like he was like a special liaison to the director or something like that, so that, it wasn't that he was giving this information to someone outside of the FBI. It was somebody who was, kind of employed by the FBI. He was a sort of an employee.
Yeah, just enough to make the argument for Comey to keep acting ignorant and talking about Lordy, their tapes and whatever nonsense he's going to talk about.
Lordy.
So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's just unraveling. I'm not going to sit here and, I'd love to say, hey, everybody, wait, it's going to happen. All the things that you keep hearing, but just like how Red Pill's saying, like I'm just as comfy, lack of a better term, as I was the day before the IG Comey came out, as of the first day we got started, hopping online. I'm good, and I'm going to stay about it. I actually, it was kind of sad. We do have the trolls coming out, and they act like they're MAGA or whatever, and they'll say, yeah, and say, oh, nothing's going to happen, Q's. That's fine. We dealt with that on 8chan. They just can't be there right now. So, they're hanging out with us in the Twitterverse. But as far as that goes, I mean, I've even had people that, I consider, friends even, or I followed them a while, and I don't think they're some kind of sleeper or whatever, come to me even today, and they're like, hey, Methods, just give it up, man. We were lied to, there's no justice in this and all that. And I'll say to that person, if they're listening and everybody else is listening, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Like, I'm going to keep doing what I do. 78 is going to keep doing what he does. We have confidence. If we want to pray for this nation, all these things, there's faith that needs to back that up. So we keep trucking.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, like my life philosophy really allows me to carry on and remain comfy because, as I've always stated, I may want justice today. We all may want justice as fast as possible. But the fact of the matter is that it's going to happen in the manner in which it's meant to happen, okay? It's on God's time. It's not my time, okay? I'm not driving this car. God is driving this car. We have to allow ourselves to have faith. Just because someone doesn't get charged with a BS crime in the same way that a Republican would have been charged, okay? Because let's be honest, we've watched Republicans and people in Trump's inner circle be charged with BS process crimes. Not things they just made up. All right, they want to get somebody. They make something up. They find a case that they dismissed 7 years ago in the case of Paul Manafort, and they put him in prison, solitary confinement. It's not happening to the Democrats because we're not petty. Okay, we are actually here to get justice. These people are going to pay for what they've done. But they need to pay for the treasonous crimes. They need to pay for the real stuff, not the petty little things that they might be able to get out after 18 months, and then they're probably not even going to have probation or a record afterwards. Scooter Libby, that kind of thing, get pardoned by the next president. But because of my faith. Because of the fact that I wake up every morning and I give any will that I have over to God, and I ask him to handle everything, I'm confident in the fact that things are going to proceed in the way they're going to proceed. I've been trusting the plan before I was told there was a plan, okay? I knew that something would have to give. I think that by people losing faith at this point in anything, okay, and I don't fault anyone for having like a momentary lapse and saying, gosh darn it, I was lied to, and it's all over, we lost. Well, we haven't lost, guys. No one's lost. We're still winning. America is still being made great on a daily basis. We are keeping it great. It is being made great to an even greater degree. President Trump has accomplished so much. We, as digital soldiers, have accomplished so much. We have not lost anything, and there are so many more things in store for us. So do not lose faith. Do not lose heart. Do not join the outrage mob. Cancel culture was started by the left, okay? Just because it exists doesn't mean that you and I need to buy into it, okay? President Trump, Bill Barr, other people in the administration, they are still doing their job. Jeffrey Epstein, excellent example. He's officially dead. We're just going to say that he's dead and, he committed suicide, although whatever, okay? Wherever he is, no matter what happened, the case against him was dismissed yesterday. Well, of course it was dismissed. He's officially dead. Are they going to they're going to carry on a legal case against a guy who can't defend himself in court? He's not there to defend himself. How are they supposed to keep the case going? They have openly stated they are actively pursuing his co-conspirators. All right? They know who those people are. Those are the most powerful people in Washington, D.C. and across the globe. There are still over 100,000 sealed indictments, okay? Those have not gone away. They have only not been unsealed. Real quick, I just need to say thank you to 27 Sparkle. Happy birthday, very handsome. Thank you very much. White Hat said, how about that? I thought you doxed yourself on accident. LOL, I yelled. Thank you, White Hat. I'm glad that everything's okay. Crystal Lynn says, RedPill78 is gorge. How many women out here agree? Show him some love. Thank you, Crystal Lynn. Scooby D says, happiest of birthday wishes, RP78. Thank you very much for that, Scooby D. So like I was saying, those indictments are still real. They still exist, all right? President Trump is only, 2.5, 3 years into his administration? 3 years, I guess. We're almost at 3 years. It's going to be 3 years in November. But, we got to wait till January to get to 3 years. Still, this is in its infancy, guys. Think of how much we've accomplished. Methods. Did you ever think that we would be here at this point? All right, I know that 2.5, 3 years ago, I was ready to pack it in, dude. Okay, I had lost hope. I had bought into that outrage mob. I had bought into the cancel culture. I thought that there was absolutely no hope. All right, I lost all my faith. I was ready to just live in a hole or, a shack in the desert or in the woods, like completely check out of society because I did not think there was any hope for America or for the world. And now today, I believe there is, and nobody's going to change my mind.
100%. Well said. I was like air golf clapping to everything that you just said about that. As far as that goes, just like you were talking about the infancy of Trump's presidency, we have the same thing with this movement. Like you were saying, like I didn't expect this a few years ago when Trump got elected. I was like, well, wow, okay, here we go. Not Hillary Clinton. Let's go. Let's see how this works. But I mean, even back in like 2012, 2011, I was already going under different names and the typical, insert name here on Facebook and all that stuff, because I just kind of saw the writing of the wall. Like, they're like, all right, they're the same people. We go from Bush Senior, Junior, Bill Clinton. They're setting up Hillary Clinton, Obama, and all that mess. It's just like, all right, I'm not going to make it easy for them to find somebody like me who thinks that they're all just evil and corrupt. But to think back then, I would love to go back then and make, methods 2012, be like, hey man, it's going to be all right. Wait till you see what happens in 2018, 2019. It's going to be pretty cool. You're going to actually, go from keeping to yourself and thinking it's going to be over to talking on a live stream to over 2,000 people, trying to console them about these things. Cause I see what you see. I see, I look past even these indictments and these arrests and all that. Like what is the society that we're creating in this new young movement?
Right.
Having these chats like this, we've covered a topic so far in the last 20 minutes, and of course, bless every channel, yours, 76. I mean, everybody who's covering news in real time. We need that. It's vital, but we also just need to have an open dialogue. Yeah, you're vaping on
America.
The screen.
Pagan Patriot just said we use the same mod. I love this. I just picked this up, the SX Mini. I just picked it up before I went to California. It's a great mod.
You better get advertisement fees for that.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what life is going to be like in the future. I mean,
Exactly.
Of course, yeah, because if everybody were to get arrested, right now, breaking news, I mean, you have to change and flip the script and pop some champagne. Awesome. That'd be great. Doesn't mean that no argument here. But as far as it goes, the more and more it's taking its time, and we see how optics are that important to Trump and the plan and how they handle all this stuff. Life still moves on. We still get up in the day. We still have family that we deal with, in mine and yours case, pets.
Yep.
And, your awesome daughter. We really need to focus on what does life look like, even after, arrest stuff, after Trump gets reelected, which, I have complete faith that will happen, because the JV garbage that they got going on the Democrat side is just, come on, it's not going to, they have nothing. But what do we create? What do we do? And having these kind of conversations, me and you agree, are kind of, the future moving forward is, discussing things, other topics that don't necessarily fit in indictments and things like that.
Exactly. And it's not like that's going to happen overnight, I mean, it took a long time for us to get to this point. I totally lost my mouse. I don't know where it is. It took a long time for society to devolve, okay, for the cabal to almost completely take over. And it's going to take time for us to rebuild that and to see what happens afterwards, what happens with that. Now, somebody in the chat, that's why I'm trying to find my mouse, because, oh my God, where is it? I don't know where my mouse is, guys. Anyways, at least I'm still streaming, because, wow, I'm actually kind of worried that I can't find my mouse. But anyways, somebody said something. You're celebrating the murder of Epstein and something else terrible, as if like that's the only thing, the only marker of a job well done, that this stuff is happening. There is so much that's happened. I'm not celebrating that. I'm celebrating all of the other wins that we've had. There's been an incredible amount of progress, and to hang your hat on this one thing that you want to happen and not trust that God and Donald Trump and his administration are going to take care of us in the way that they're meant to and the way that they are promising us, then you're discounting all of the other wonderful things that have taken place.
Yeah, I mean, look at how this community has came together alone. I'm grateful to have met you.
Yeah.
I'm grateful the many people that, we get a moment each day to talk about things, debate, all that. It got created in such a way on a new level, instead of everybody just kind of listening to Alex Jones saying, is this guy is he real or not? What the hell are we listening to?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm grateful, and I want to make sure that I'm always grateful for what's being created and what we've done so far. So, I mean, me and RedPill aren't trying to make excuses here. We just see things differently. And I've had many conversations with people over the last day or so, watching, the concerns, outrage, whatever, whether it's just shills fueling the fire or, patriots kind of losing faith. And I mean, there's many people that that tell me that they see it how we see it.
Yeah.
And we want to continue moving forward and just developing this community and getting sharper and all that. So, I mean, we've got the 8chan thing coming up next week, that hearing, and we need to get past that marker. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would be a lot comfier if we had 8chan at this moment to understand and keep up with things. But I mean, hey, they're coming after Discord now, so the fight is on.
Discord is the new 8chan. Real quick, I just saw the same individual comment, Rob O'Neill. Okay, Rob, you're free to have your opinion, okay? But he said, I guess it's okay that our children and grandchildren are going to foot the bill for all these illegals. 1 million in the past 6 months. No, it's not okay. I don't want them here. Neither does President Trump. It's not our fault that Congress is failing to take action. President Trump is building the wall right now. President Trump is actively working to change our immigration policies so that they are not going to be able to just stream across the border. He's working with countries like Mexico and these other allies in Central America. Again, this is a quite a lengthy process, all right? As much as everybody would like it to be, he can't just unilaterally say, I am God Emperor Trump of the United States of America, and I make such and such a decree so that we can fix all these problems. If he could, we would be living in a dictatorship, and we don't. We live in a constitutional republic. So things are going to get worked out. I love y'all. All right. I know that there's a lot of shills coming out of the closet and the clockwork in order to try and demoralize us. And all I'm saying is I'm asking each and every one of you to just think about it. Just really consider. White Hat said we were one election away from losing this country. If Hillary Clinton would have come into power in 2016, that would have been it. Methods, people like you and I might be dead at this point.
Right, we'd be hanging out in a empty Walmart right now.
Exactly. Or in a boxcar going across the Southwest on our way to a camp in North Dakota or something.
Right.
But we didn't. We're not. Pagan Patriot. He is a legal immigrant. He said, yes, it's hard. Yes, it takes time. But in the end, it's worth it. And it is worth it. All right. But these people that are coming here illegally, they have been given this incorrect perception. They've been told to just come on over, just stream across the border, just get over here because we'll take care of you. The Democrats want to give free health care. They want to give free benefits to everyone who streams across the border. All right. And again, it took time to put this failing infrastructure into place and to get on this path to destroy our country. It will take time to bring it back, but we are doing it. We are making America great again. We are changing it for our children and our children's children. You guys, we can't lose faith. We've got to stick with the plan. Lainey Lee said, happy birthday, RedPill78. Thank you very much, Lainey. Also, Ben Schwagel says Comey's buddy had a security clearance after both he and Comey were let go. Then he was shown the memos. After he was read out, it became classified. After they were read out, they never could have known what was classified in the memos. Therefore, prosecution is problematic and difficult to prove. Thank you for that, Ben Schwagel. Appreciate that.
And that's actually, not to cut you off, but that's exactly what my discussions with other people that were digging on that's exactly to a T explained. So well done.
Yes, thank you for that. Then Alexandria Occasional Cortex says 17-day delta between JE suicide attempts. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Did you realize that?
I want to say I heard it, but I didn't do the whole check the date calendar to confirm it. So yeah, sounds cool.
No, it's definitely interesting. Thanks, AOC. Appreciate that. Then let's see. Lainey Lee said, happy birthday, Red Pill. I heard an interesting story earlier today. That several months ago, President Trump had been sued. He was taken to court because he had blocked people on Twitter, right? He had blocked people on Twitter, and they came after him, and they were like, this is a public platform. You can't block us, because if you block us, then, we can't hear your message. And AOC was also taken to court because she blocked people. And in both cases, it was found that it was illegal for both the president and for AOC to block people. And they're both fighting it. I think this is probably the only instance where AOC and the president come together on policy.
Yeah, what do you do? It's like that infamous meme button of which button you press. Like, which thing do you want to sound triggered about? And I also, I want to say it was Steven Crowder, that went through the same thing with Rep. Omar. And he got his lawyer on it. And within 2 hours, he was unblocked because they're like, yeah, we're not going to go down this fight. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting.
So, I completely blanked on the next story that I wanted to talk about. Hold on here just 1 second.
No, it's fine. Q, this says it was Talib, not Omar. Could be right. I'm just kind of quoting off the top of my head.
All right.
Feel free to research for yourself.
Yeah, guys, and I'll be the first to say that it is not easy to keep up with all this information on a daily basis. Methods and I do a pretty good job, you know, but there's stuff that even gets past us, or it's also not too difficult to forget this stuff if it's not like kept in your head on a regular basis. You know, there's obviously some stuff that we both really care about, and so we're thinking about it a lot. But you know, if you'll hear something, you get a tidbit, and then you're moving on to the next big story. And so, you know, that's why I love having these people here in the chat, because they can tell us about what's going on.
Oh, they keep you correct, man. I mean, we do our best, but we're sifting through information so quickly that not everything sticks when we're then on air on the spot to do that. So, and also, I just want to say this real quick. If you are the Twitter account that was asking for prayer for the surgery that you had this past Monday. If not, so I just like to say, you know, everybody was praying for her. She had to have a surgery, and she had said that through this movement she had found faith in God and gotten a lot more, you know, comfortable, and she believes it's going to go well. But, you know, wanting prayer because, you know, nerves for surgery, and you know, it ended up being, you know, completely successful and all of that. So, you know, a good praise report there.
Awesome. I remember what it was I wanted to speak about. Jack got hacked today on Twitter. How about that?
Right. Yeah. As much as I would love to think like that's like a 4chan thing, just getting him back or something like that. From what I saw, because I'll be completely honest, I took a nap this afternoon. There was just so much chaos going on the internet. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna lay down a little bit. And I wake up and they're like, you know, Jack was hacked. And I was like, what? So I'm wiping my eyes, trying to figure out what's going on. And what I gathered from it, you know, I saw, of course, the post that it was made, you know, the N-word being used and all that stuff. But
racism.
How convenient, you know, white supremacist hack his account type stuff. But as my understanding, there was a Discord link that was dropped, correct?
I'm looking. Yes, there was a Discord link. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna get this video taken down just for showing these tweets.
Oh man, but yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah, so basically, how convenient that they're join our Discord. How convenient is it that they were just now talking about all of us moving from 8chan to this convenient Discord thing that just, even though we've all been using it for how long now?
Oh my gosh.
Then, oops. Somebody hacks it and drops a Discord link. And what better way for them to then strong arm Discord to get in and see the work that we're doing there? And I'm telling you, that's the next play, because they know they don't have much on 8chan. They're going to try to get them there and intimidate them and all that stuff. That's fine. He believes in this stuff 110% free speech. So that's going to go nowhere unless, you know, we'll see what happens. But I'm fully confident that it should end there. So come after Discord.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. This is way too convenient. You got white supremism mixed with the Discord narrative that they're trying to sow right now. You know, you gotta think. You know, somebody like Jack would have like 2-factor authentication turned on his Twitter account. He's probably got you know, like a really strong password. You know, maybe even using the Apple iMac, or the what is it called? They have some ultra secure password. Like when you go to sign up for a website that uses a password, they create like an encrypted password for you, and then they store all of your passwords.
Right.
He is not a dunce, and I think he knows, you know, the type of damage that could be done if his account was hacked. I mean, this reeks of a manufactured event to me.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely. If me and you were brainstorming when that articles came out about, you know, all the Anons moving to Discord, this would be something that we would probably come up with.
Yeah.
Because they needed the narrative to be like, yeah, hey, we told you. You know, just like us being called the domestic T. I got to get better about certain words using on people's live streams.
Thank you.
Yeah, my bad about that. But you know, this fits the narrative of what, you know, who does this help? You know, yeah, it makes Jack look like a victim, so you have that. It fits into the MSM narrative that they conveniently just started talking about. You know, Jack got his account back real quick, and they were like, "Oh, nothing was harmed" or whatever. You know, if it was a 4chan anon or somebody that got in there, we would all be reading Jack's DMs right now.
Yes, yeah. They would have publicized all of it, right?
Completely.
Yeah.
And so of course this reeks of a setup, and which means that they're going to make a play to get Discord ticket. I don't know who necessarily hosts them or how that works, kind of like the Cloudflare thing with 8chan.
Yeah.
But expect for that to happen. If you guys are a part of a Discord group and you all work together and all that, have a backup plan. There are other platforms available to do things. But no, I mean, we knew it was going to get worse. And then, I mean, leading up to the election, they know they don't have anybody worthy of voting for. So they're going to come after the base. They're going to come after the people that have been ruining them with memes and getting more popular. Because I'll see people, they'll reply to a mainstream media article and they'll get way more likes than the likes of the original article. I mean, we're ruining them on a lot of fronts. So coming after Discord, same thing like coming after 8chan.
Yeah, it's good for the press. It's good for the DNC. It's good for the bad guys in government. Well, the next thing I wanted to talk about was Trump's not chief of staff, but his personal assistant, Madeleine Westerhout. She was let go or asked to resign because she apparently was drinking with some reporters at like a function, and she spoke off the record without saying it was off the record. But more than that, the White House is claiming that she spoke to the reporters about Trump and his family. That was from the White House. Now, it's recently come out earlier today that people are claiming that Madeleine stated to the reporters that Trump doesn't like to be to be shown in photographs with Tiffany Trump because she's overweight. Now, that doesn't seem to me like something the president would say. He loves his kids, okay? I don't know any father that would say that about their daughter. It's just cruel, all right? So I think that this sounds like something that was made up. But it's being speculated that perhaps he actually made the comment about nuking hurricanes in front of her and probably some other trusted individuals to see who would leak it, just because it's such a ridiculous statement. He's like, well, I said it to Madeleine, okay? And then somebody in the press is told that Trump is talking about nuking hurricanes. Now, of course, nobody is ridiculous enough to think that nuking a hurricane is a good idea. Nobody's going to do that. But I can totally see Trump playing 4D chess and leaking this information to somebody that he thought might have been a leaker to watch it come out in the press. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where my head's at on it. I mean, using the word nuke and talking about something fresh like the hurricane that's going on, that would make sense to say, because they ran with it real quick. Because I was like, where was this said? Where did and they were just touting it all over the news. So yeah, make a ridiculous comment like that, and here we are. But then again, was it like Breaking 911 that tweeted out that graphic reminding people to not fire guns into the hurricanes? So, what a timeline we're in right now.
That's on your timeline, isn't it?
I might have shared it. I don't remember. I just remember laughing extremely hard.
I couldn't remember if I saw that on your timeline or if I saw it on Discord.
Yeah, I think we dropped it in Discord, so that would be lost in the translation. But how like, to me, whoever runs that account gets it. Yeah, and they were just doing their own thing.
Warrior Biatch said she was going to send something to us that she happened across. Go ahead and send it to both Methods and I, Warrior. And we'll get it in a joint message between us. Let's see. There was a couple of things in here. Oh, yeah. Actually, I needed to say to Candy De Leon, happy blessed birthday, RedPill78. A bit of birthday money for you to keep informing the masses. Thank you for your important research. Thank you for that, Candy. Amy Dye, thank you just for that super chat. Whitehat said Jack Hack was an inside job. I completely agree with you there, Whitehat. Whitehat, if you've got a little bit more inside information about that, I think that's right up your alley. If you've got something you want to tell us, then you know where to drop it.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. Spencer5513 said, Fox said Trump has 63 million followers on Twitter. Just think how many more. Is that maybe that's in reference to the block, the block story? TikTok. Hey, what's up, TikTok? Kate Steinle, is that supposed to, I don't know who that is. I don't know who Kate Steinle is, but killer conviction got thrown out. Could you please share my situation as well, please? Yes, I actually was just going to ask everybody. You guys, TikTok is a survivor of cancer. I believe he said kidney cancer. and it looks like some stuff may be coming back up. So I specifically want to ask everybody to keep TikTok in your prayers. We're going to follow up with him, and TikTok, maybe we'll even have you on the show, buddy. You can tell us what's going on, share your story with us in more depth, but please do keep TikTok in your prayers. And here we go. Let's see. So this is, this is going to speak for itself, guys. I'm actually not even going to say the word out loud, but this is a bridesmaid necklace that Warrior Biatch found, and it's made from a particular type of Italian food, cut into slices, and with the initials CP for cheese pizza. Look at that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, kind of creepy.
Right.
The kind of thing that Hillary and Chelsea would have on their necks.
Yep, Red Pill doesn't want that for his birthday.
Nope. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. You guys, someone did get me these new lights. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not this shiny in real life. Somebody was saying that I should start wearing makeup just for the broadcast.
Right.
But yeah, this apparently seems to be like a whole like subgenre of charm jewelry. You and your girlfriends wear slices of pizza. This one's kind of cool. Do you see this, Methods?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I dig those scales, to be honest with you.
Right.
I think that's neat. I feel like Aquaman. But yeah. So yeah, you can get charms for basically anything.
Looking forward to your Etsy page, 78.
Can I share my favorites with you? All right, back to Madeline. Let's see here. So yeah, Oval Office operations. So it was Axios that reported it. Yeah, I stand by every word of this story. He said this in at least 2 meetings during the first year and a bit of the presidency, and one of the conversations was memorialized. So that means apparently somebody got the Trump saying on tape or on digital recording that he wanted to nuke. He
already knew that they were recording him because, he moved out of Trump Tower real quick and the whole White House sweep stuff. So, of course, he was just saying things just to, lay little traps for them to do, because now she's going to have to, update her LinkedIn and go find a job.
Okay, Stuart just said Kate Steinle. Isn't it Kate Steinle? Wasn't she with the young woman out in California who was shot on a bridge by an illegal, and he got put into prison, and now I guess his conviction's been overturned? Does that sound familiar?
Not on my end, but
okay,
we'll run with it.
Hang on, we're gonna have to look that up. Kate. I think it's Kate Steinle.
We are getting a lot of yeses.
Yep, here it is.
Hey, you guys all just need to be on this show, Red Pill and Us, right now.
Hans von Spakovsky. Crimes by illegal immigrants widespread across U.S. Sanctuaries shouldn't shield them. The decision by a oh my God, this makes me so mad. The decision by a California appeals court overturning the conviction of an illegal immigrant who shot and killed Kate Steinle in San Francisco in 2015 once again put the national spotlight on the serious problem of crimes committed by people in the U.S. illegally. The appeals court in San Francisco overturned the conviction of Jose Inez Garcia Zarate on a charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. Garcia Zarate was earlier found not guilty of first and second degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and assault with a semi-automatic weapon. A woman is dead due to a bullet from a gun in his hand. How is he not guilty of one of these? Okay, involuntary manslaughter. If he didn't mean to pull the trigger, or if he didn't mean to kill her, involuntary manslaughter. That's why they invented it.
Right, that there's still some kind of consequence, but that the decision by California start of that paragraph is pretty much all you need to know on why.
Right. Oh, good Lord. I'm hoping that they're going to give some background on why they decided to overturn it. Critics are nope, just that it was overturned. There are so many crimes committed by people who are here illegally. You know, I've seen a lot of disturbing cases just over the last week. You know, women assaulted, people murdered. It's just never ending. You know, I mean, there has to be something done about sanctuary cities. You know, I really thought that Trump was onto something when he was going to send all illegals that came across the border just to sanctuary cities. You know, I think that that's what they need. I think that they need to have their system overloaded there so that they can get a taste of what it would be like. You know, and I, you know, woe is the American citizen conservatives who live in these sanctuary cities. I think that they're probably few and far between because the cities we're talking about are overwhelmingly liberal and left-leaning. But I think that that's a great idea. I think that that is the perfect solution because the only way that the sanctuary status is going to be overturned is if, you know, they have a reason to keep it overturned. You know, I mean, they have to experience the tragedies that come with these, you know, the overwhelming numbers of people that need to be taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I caught something earlier. I don't really like to say something without verifying, but I've even heard, you know, a few friends tell me that like the left was complaining and protesting over the cleaning up after the mess that's created by the homeless people.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Okay. So to me, it's like, I guess the 4 to 6% lost forever theory. Like I said, if Q was posting right now, he'd probably update that because I mean it's getting out of hand. But it is what it is. Hey, Patriot Politics Research. Just saw your tweet or your post.
What? Oh, Patriot Politics. Yep, late arriving. What up, Villy? How you doing, brother? Villy, you are another person that we need to have on the show because you've got a pretty interesting perspective. I finally got to that email that you sent me like a month and a half ago. I've been very, very overwhelmed. Kathy Rennick, tonight is when I started showing my face. Charles Pixley, thank you for that, sir. It's a coded message, the hurricane. It's political hurricane boomerang regarding Crossfire Hurricane and relates also October 5th, the calm before the storm. You know, also President Trump inaugurated the Space Force this week, and he made a couple of very key comments. He talked about the storm in a series of comments within about a 2-minute period. So I think that Charles may be right. I think that this is very possibly, a time when we might be hearing the president say, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, the storm has arrived. I would just flip if that was the case. I feel like President Trump's been given signals lately.
Oh yeah, no, if that tweet came out right now, I wouldn't be on air. This laptop would be out the window. And I'd catch you guys after I go pick up a new one. Yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, of course, it's a convenient way to double speak using that lingo.
Yep.
But we do know that, the IG on FISA is right around the corner, as I understand it. Barr has it. Graham has already requested for it to be as redacted as possible, i.e. the Mueller report. And a good friend was reminding me earlier that, fiscal year doesn't end on December. It ends at the end of, September.
Right.
So as far as if you're looking at it from a paperwork standpoint, of course you wouldn't want to have everything wrapped up and turned over for then so you can, move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So let me see what else here. Joe Biden. Did you hear about Joe Biden's latest gaffe this week?
I don't know. Has he spoke publicly again since we've been on air?
He told some story about going to Afghanistan to visit service members.
I was watching Fox News a little bit, and they were talking about how they interviewed a bunch of soldiers, and they were able to figure out, decoding Biden, that it was 3 different stories that he was meshing together. And then his response was, "Hey, I'm trying to give a hat tip to all these people. What's wrong with that?" And it's like, you just peddled fiction across the board. Your choose your own adventure story on a campaign trail. So,
you know what I'm immediately reminded of? Hillary Clinton running across a tarmac in Yugoslavia, dodging sniper bullets, because that also didn't happen. She was when she went on a diplomatic trip to like Bosnia Herzegovina, Yugoslavia, something like that back in the 90s, and she said on the campaign trail, I remember we were dodging sniper fire and ducking heads, and yeah, that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all.
She's so brave.
Yeah, you know, what is it about, and especially in this internet age, all right, where things are so easily verifiable, you know? What makes them think that they can get away with just lying to the American public so brazenly?
Because they were so good at it, and they got away with it before. They don't know another language to speak.
It worked for decades. So Joe specifically, in reference to this story, said the essence of the story he told is accurate. The essence? You know, and it's great because the Washington Post called him out. You know, not the paper of record, you know, the Washington Compost. So they ran a story titled, "As He Campaigns for President, Joe Biden Tells a Moving but False War Story." He said, he told a story about a 4-star general. He said he had asked him to travel to Kunar province in Afghanistan back when he was vice president. He was awarding a heroic Navy captain with a medal. Biden told the 400 or so attendees that the captain had rappelled into a 60-foot ravine to recover the body of a slain U.S. soldier. As he went to pin the medal on him, he said, "Sir, I don't want the damn thing," Biden said. "This is the God's truth," Biden said. "My word as a Biden."
Yeah, cool
Just
story,
dig a
Biden.
hole. Except almost every detail in the story appears to be incorrect. Based on interviews with more than a dozen U.S. troops, there's the decode, their commanders, and Biden campaign officials, too. He got given up. It appears as though the former vice president just jumbled elements of at least 3 actual events into one story of bravery, compassion, and regret that never happened. This also reminds me of Wag the Dog. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I know.
Great movie. Great movie. I grew up with that. And I remember thinking at the time, you know, is this how it's done? Is this how it's done? Is this really how it's done? And then, you know, I got older and, like, clearly this is exactly how it's done. You know, thank God for the internet. You know, I mean, you know, bless it, damn it at the same time. But thank God for the internet. We know that we have the ability to fact check like this, you know, that we have the forethought to go around places like Snopes or the Washington Compost. I mean, I'm aghast that the Washington Post is the one who actually came out and showed that he's lying.
I guess they kind of needed a win.
They're trying to trick people, make them think that, you know, they're telling actual news. Laura Thompson, happy birthday, and thanks for letting us see your face. What a treat. Thank you. Thank you for being here, all of you guys. Definitely. So, Methods, how's your weekend going, buddy? You got any big plans for you and the missus?
She'll be working a lot over the weekend. I know that you know, she's a college football fan, so we'll be catching some games and stuff like that when she's not working. But I have the cough shameless plug of me and Space Shot doing our Saturday show, noon Eastern on his channel. We'll be, you know, reviewing, you know, a lot of other news that's occurred, maybe some of the stuff that we've talked about tonight. But, you know, besides that, you know, I'm taking it easy, letting the wildfire on the internet kind of calm down a little bit, and you know, on to the next one.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was where I was going. So thank you for the shameless plug. Just want to make sure that everyone is aware that Methods and Space Shot are doing a show on Saturdays. It's at noon Eastern. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And it's on Space Shot's channel. All right. So please, guys, make sure that you tune in for that. It's always a good time. I love hearing their combined perspective. You know, Methods, now that I'm back regularly, Methods is also going to be showing up on the program more often. So I hope that you guys are enjoying our conversation as well.
Yeah, we've got a little bit in the works for future shows over here on this channel. That'll be a little bit of fun.
That's right. Lots in the works. It's going to be a good time. Let's see. So we also had somebody said it was their birthday today as well. Yeah, War in Zivan. Little punny. I love it. Werewolf in wait. Yeah, Werewolves of London. That's the song I was trying to remember. It's my birthday, Will. 8/30/1960 something or other. Well, good. Any other August 30th birthdays today? So far, we've got 3 people sharing birthdays.
Well, I
Love
will
it.
say about Zev, yeah, that account, my buddy there has been around since I got started.
Really?
He was in the first official, meme war we did, the infamous meme war of 2018. So yeah, no, happy birthday, bud. Happy to see you still around kicking it.
Glad you're here with us. Glad you're all here with us, you guys. We're getting to the end of the show. Just a couple of minutes left. We got 2,677 people watching the show right now. I would just like to make a plea that if you have not liked this show yet, please click that like button, guys. It would really, really help me out. My channel, Thomas at True Reporting, another really good friend of mine who's going to be on the show next weekend, I believe. And I want to let everybody know that me, Thomas, and Methods are going to be on a stream on Thomas's channel on Monday for it's Memorial Day, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Memorial Day. So we're going to be on a show on Thomas's channel, so please make sure that you guys tune in for that too. Thomas is getting hit with the throttling. I'm getting hit. This last week, I think I kind of skipped beyond it because I didn't make videos for 4 days. So maybe I fell off of the list or something like that. But, a lot of people were maybe happy that I was back from vacation. They hide our videos. They take away views. Space Shot just got video evidence of views being removed from his video. So you guys, we depend on you guys to support us. And, whether that's just liking the video, sharing it, watching it, or supporting our sponsors. I mean, quite honestly, I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for the sponsors. They allow me to make the shows that I want to make. I don't have to be worried about the content that's in them. They want me to produce the content that I want to make. Nobody's asking me to edit, what's going on here. When I edit stuff, it's because I know that there are keywords that our benefactors here on this channel, the owners of this channel, they don't want you to say. They immediately suppress your video. Also, I want to let everybody know, Quite Frankly is going to be on with me tomorrow at 9 o'clock. After that, Joanna Chestnut, the author of Liberals Lied to Me, is going to be joining us. And then after that, concluding the show, it's going to be me and Severe, another great friend of the channel. So he's going to be debuting a new song here. And then very soon, you guys remember, Jason Was a Gentile, another great friend. He's going to be joining us. And I do want to end the show, you guys. I want to say thank you so much to God's Guy. Thank you to God's Guy and Gina for the incredible hospitality they showed me when I went to California for him to fix my car. He gave me probably a new life on that car, you guys. I had several people, deriding me for driving across the country to California to have my transmission fixed. I didn't get where I am by wasting money. I'll be really honest about that. Subarus will drive for forever if you keep them in good working condition. And now I have a drivetrain which has only as many miles on it as it took me to drive home from California. The car is beautiful. It drives like butter. If you live in Southern California, and you need your car work done, at least for the next several months, I want you to get a hold of Mobile Mechanics SoCal. That would be God's Guy. Also, go and subscribe to God's Guy. Check his channel out. He's going to be interviewing Patriot 24/7, another good friend from Twitter. Keep It Red, she used to be called, she's had many different accounts. She's another one that gets deleted on regular basis. Let's see, Methods. Do you have anybody that you want to specifically call out and say hello to?
Absolutely, everybody in this live chat.
That's right.
Yeah, and there's so many people, and I try to keep up with everybody the best I can. So when I hear about surgeries or stuff not going well, I try. But I love you all. I absolutely do. Thank you for hanging out with me. Every day I put out a tweet, and I end up in everybody's cell phones, and y'all react quickly and stuff. It's a good feeling to have everything connected. And let's just always try to keep positive. if things get too much and the internet's just overbearing, I will always say this: put the phone down, go for a walk,
Yeah.
re-energize, or hop in a chat with somebody and talk, and just talk about other things, and find your center, pray and do what you do, and it'll be all right. You'll re-energize and come back around. But yeah, love you all.
Yeah, definitely, you guys. Unplug. I'll tell you what, there was no cell or internet service in the American Southwest. It's only the cell phone company that I use. Everybody else had service. It just wasn't me.
Yeah. You don't know how many, like, first off, you don't know how many people, Red Pill, contacted me wondering about you because they didn't necessarily catch that you were leaving. So, when's the live stream coming on and all this stuff, and you were gone. So, you were definitely missed and loved, and in turn, to everybody listening, Red Pill really took advantage of not having cell phone service. Most of us didn't hear from him that much. He was having a good time. He was, relaxing. He'd send pictures and stuff like that. Let me know he was all right. But now he's ready to come back and, go full force. So expect a lot of great things over here on Red Pill's channel.
I appreciate that. Expect great things from all of us. I am definitely rejuvenated. I needed a couple of days off, you guys. All right, well, hey, that is it. We have reached the 12 o'clock hour. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for my special birthday extravaganza for our conversation with Mike and Doreen and my good friend Methods. As always, this has been RedPill78. I am the corruption detector. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. If I can get to the stop button. Bye, guys.